Heads up for people living in Niagara Falls. Winter parking rules will go into effect December 1st and run through March 31st. This means you cannot park overnight on the street from 11 p.m. through 7 a.m. Also in Niagara Falls, the Water Board is pumping the brakes on that proposed rate hike for now. We told you about this last week. The Water Board has pitched a 2.5% rate increase in its 2018 budget. The Water Board has been dealing with sewage overflows from a wastewater treatment plant into the Niagara River near the Maid of the Mist. They blame old infrastructure and say it will take millions to fix this problem.
Our goal is at least to get it down to 2%, but I'm hopeful that if we possibly can work hard enough, maybe it can get to 0%. I'm not saying that it will, but that's my goal, to make sure that we can possibly do that. And so we'll see by, really digging into the numbers and seeing what we can and cannot do.
The budget vote is now scheduled for December 11th. Also new at 10:30, a Buffalo man accused of driving drunk and hitting two people has been indicted. 33-year-old Marshawn Levy is charged with assault, aggravated vehicular assault, and DWI. The Erie County District Attorney's Office says in May, Levy was driving at high speeds when he crashed head-on into a stopped car at East Delavan and Bailey. The driver of that car is still in the hospital with a traumatic brain injury. The passenger was hospitalized for a month with severe leg injuries. Levy has pleaded not guilty to the charges. He faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted. Also new at 10:30, new details just in about the investigation into a hunter who accidentally shot a woman in the town of Sherman. Sources told me minutes ago the Chautauqua County District Attorney will be presenting everything to a grand jury in the very near future. I'm told the grand jury will then decide if an indictment alleging criminal conduct is warranted. News 4's Jen Shantz has more.
5:30 Wednesday evening, 43-year-old Rosemary Bilquist was shot while out walking her dogs in the town of Sherman. The shooter, according to Chautauqua County Sheriff's deputies, mistook Bilquist for a deer. They say he was out hunting in the same field. The hunter, who lives less than a mile from Bilquist, heard a scream and ran over to help, according to investigators. Bilquist was reportedly shot once in the hip. She died at a hospital in Erie, Pennsylvania.
There are some procedural issues that would rear up if we charge locally. And in a case like this, you want to make sure your investigation is complete anyways before you move forward.
The DEC is the lead agency on this case because it's hunting related.
They do have the authority to lay charges, but they brought us in relatively early on this. I was involved, Wednesday evening. As soon as they learned, I was contacted and we began discussions about how to move forward.
The DEC, DA's office, and the sheriff's office reviewed the case Monday afternoon. No charges have been filed, and it's unlikely any will be handed down locally. Bilquist was shot with a hunting pistol.
It was a Thompson Contender, which fires rifle rounds.
Hunting hours in New York State end at sunset. According to the Chautauqua County Sheriff, the hunter was out past that time, which is a violation. The DA says if the hunter is charged via a grand jury, he could face manslaughter or criminally negligent homicide.
That was Jen Shantz reporting. A former City of Buffalo worker accused of stabbing a dog was indicted today. Prosecutors say that 47-year-old James Craddock confronted a woman and her dog Audie at Mineral Springs Road and Frank Avenue in the city in September. Authorities say after some type of argument, Craddock stabbed the dog with a large knife. The dog needed emergency surgery but has since healed. District Attorney John Flynn says he takes this case personally.
His main problem now in facing these charges is that he's running across a DA who's a dog lover, which I have zero tolerance for this behavior. And, thank God the dog is okay.
Flynn says Craddock can either plead guilty to his charges, including aggravated cruelty to animals, or go to trial. The DA says because Craddock has a prior conviction for a weapons charge, his charges are more serious. He could spend 7 years in prison for this crime. All new at 10:30, some New York lawmakers will be back in Albany starting this week to begin the long process of crafting a new state budget. Several communities and committees have scheduled hearings in the next few weeks to examine spending on agricultural programs, the courts, environmental protection, and libraries. They are expected to review how much is already being spent and whether those investments should be increased, decreased, or changed in the next state spending plan. Lawmakers will discuss agriculture tomorrow. A spending plan should be approved by April 1st, the start of the new fiscal year. A new report by the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office reveals poor Americans will lose billions of dollars worth of federal benefits under the Senate GOP tax bill. According to the CBO, this is largely because the bill would eliminate the individual mandate, which requires nearly all Americans to get health insurance or pay a penalty. This means 13 million fewer people would have health insurance and health coverage in 2027. The report released yesterday also finds those earning $40,000 a year would be worse off in 2025. That's when most of the bill's provisions will go into effect. On the flip side, those with higher incomes would enjoy tax breaks. A new lawsuit filed today now accuses disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein of violating sex trafficking laws. The lawsuit says Weinstein went to London in 2014 and lured an aspiring actress, Kaden Noble, into a hotel room and sexually assaulted her. Noble says Weinstein told her he wanted to talk about a role he had in mind for her. The lawsuit goes on to say he groped her and forced her to watch him perform a sex act. A spokesperson for Weinstein has denied these allegations. Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore is rallying support behind his embattled campaign despite multiple allegations of sexual misconduct against him. The event comes on the same day Democratic Senator Al Franken returned to work and issued a public apology for groping multiple women allegedly. Mola Lange has the latest from Capitol Hill.